Hello everyone. For more than 25 years, a Chinese gem inside the Venetian has built a loyal fan base who swear by its fresh, homemade flavors and inviting atmosphere. It's the kind of place that doesn't just serve food, it delivers comfort in a bowl, earning a reputation as one of the top spots for authentic Chinese cuisine on the Strip. I kept hearing about it from readers of my food blog. The hype was unrelenting, almost to the point of being annoying. I remember thinking, it's a Chinese restaurant at the Venetian. Seems kind of out of place. While I grew up in California, I was raised by two dyed-in-the-wool, show-me state Missourians. I was weaned on skepticism, and it runs deep to this day. I don't just take people's word for it. So naturally, I had to see for myself. What is Caesar's famous line? I came, I saw, I conquered. Well, for me, it's I come, I taste, I judge. And then I make a YouTube video. Shortly after I arrived, badgering the server with questions, I realized this spot is the sister restaurant of my all-time favorite Chinese place in Las Vegas, Taste of Asia at the Suncoast Hotel and Casino. Well, this got me excited. If it's even half as good, I was in for something special. Today, we're visiting Noodle Asia to see what all the commotion's about. And make sure to stay to the end, as Noodle Asia is making a special offer to our viewers. Okay, let's get started. We began with the classic, Hong Kong crispy seafood noodles. This dish traces its roots to Cantonese cuisine, where crispy noodles have been a beloved staple for generations. Originally a street food favorite in Hong Kong, it embodies the contrast that Cantonese chefs master so well. Crispy, yet tender. Rich, yet delicate. I always say crispy noodles give you two dishes in one. They arrive as a golden, crackling nest, piled high like a haystack, shattering with each bite. But then, the magic happens. The glossy, umami-rich sauce softens the noodles just enough to create that perfect balance of crisp and chew. Noodle Asia's version didn't disappoint. The noodles and sauces were terrific. The noodles themselves are deeply golden, with just a kiss of char, bringing out a smoky depth of flavor. And the seafood? Impeccable. Sweet, briny shrimp, fresh as an ocean breeze, mingling with tender squid scored in a classic checkerboard pattern, allowing it to soak up the garlicky, salty sauce in every crevice. Bright, fresh vegetables complete the dish. Crunchy carrots and vibrant Chinese broccoli encircle the plate, adding both texture and color. The dish is mild on its own, but if you crave heat, a drizzle of their house-made chili oil elevates it even further. This is comfort food with a Hong Kong soul expertly executed. Get it? You'll thank me later. I was so excited to get ordering, I jumped right past the drink phase, so they arrived a little late. But here is the passion fruit soda, milk tea with boba, and peach tea. The passion fruit soda is packed with fresh ingredients, lychee, passion fruit, and mint leaves. Mixed with soda, it's one of the best scratch-made soft drinks you'll ever taste. The milk tea is rich, creamy, and smooth with chewy boba at the bottom. And the peach tea? So good, it might become your new obsession. I couldn't resist ordering the orange chicken. Years ago, the sister restaurant, Taste of Asia, turned me into an orange chicken fan, and I've been hooked ever since. The dish has deep roots in China, where it was traditionally made with bone-in thigh meat and carried more of the orange rind's natural bitterness rather than sweetness. It was often a hot pot dish, nothing like what we know today. Then came Panda Express in the 1980s, reinventing it for the American palate. They swapped in boneless chicken breast, deep-fried it, and drenched it in a much sweeter orange sauce. Here, they take the original Chinese flavor profile to another level. The burnt red chilies add an incredibly smoky depth, giving the dish that signature wok flavor. What I love most is the balance. Just enough sweetness, but with a hint of bitterness from the orange peel to keep things interesting. And if you're feeling bold, a drizzle of their house-made chili oil turns up the heat a notch. I love this dish. I'm a sucker for honey walnut prawns. It might just be my favorite dish of all time, and I'll always order it if it's on the menu. It's hard to imagine life before it, but believe it or not, honey walnut prawns didn't exist until the 1980s. My God, that means this dish didn't exist for almost a third of my life. Originally created in Hong Kong for special occasions, it quickly became a staple in Cantonese banquet cuisine before making its way across the globe. Thankfully, you don't need a wedding or a big celebration to enjoy it anymore. Just order a plate and suddenly any day feels like an occasion. Not all versions of this dish are created equal. Some places completely miss the mark, but not here. These prawns are textbook perfect, lightly battered to give them that golden crispy exterior while keeping the inside plump, juicy, and naturally sweet. You can always tell the difference between prawns and shrimp if you know what to look for. Prawns, caught in the wild, have segmented shells that separate like a knight's armor, while shrimp have a smooth, uninterrupted shell. And when it comes to texture and flavor, prawns reign supreme. The real magic of this dish, though, is the sauce. It's all about balance. Get it wrong, and the dish collapses. At Noodle Asia, it's spot on. A luscious blend of honey, sweetened condensed milk, and yes, mayonnaise. If that last ingredient surprises you, well, it shouldn't. It's what gives the sauce its signature creaminess and slight tang, cutting through the sweetness. The prawns are coated just enough to enhance their flavor without overwhelming them. And then there are the walnuts. Some places serve them raw, which I believe is a crime in 10 states and the District of Columbia. But here, they're beautifully candied, crunchy, sweet, and irresistible. Honestly, they're so good you could toss them into a Halloween bag and kids would think they hit the jackpot. This version of honey walnut prawns is everything it should be. Rich, balanced, and absolutely addictive. Don't miss this dish. Just a quick reminder, according to YouTube, only 20% of those watching right now are subscribed. Subscribing is free, and it greatly helps this channel grow and allow us to bring you more reviews. So please take a moment to subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Okay, let's get back to it. I'm usually hesitant to order this dish because it's often a sugary teriyaki-style disappointment. Despite its name, Mongolian beef has no real connection to Mongolia. It was actually created in Hong Kong, inspired by the bold, smoky flavors of traditional Mongolian cooking. The goal was to capture the essence of wok-fired beef, and when done right, it's a masterpiece. And this version is exactly that. The chef clearly knows what he's doing, delivering deep, complex flavors with just the right amount of heat. The beef has a rich, almost charred taste from the wok, balanced with soy sauce, black pepper, and just enough sweetness to round it out without overpowering. The green onions add a fresh, slightly sharp contrast, and the cellophane noodles bring a satisfying textural contrast. This is Mongolian beef the way it should be. Bold, balanced, and utterly delicious. I highly recommend. I can't stand fish that tastes fishy, but there's none of that here. It's clean as a whistle. You'd think it was just pulled from the ocean, even though we both know that's not happening in Vegas. They use tilapia, a mild white fish that's delicately battered in a mix of cornstarch and rice flour, then flash fried to perfection. The result? An ultralight, shatteringly crisp exterior that keeps the inside moist, tender, and grease-free. And they don't hold back on the garlic. Expect plenty, along with serrano chilies, scallions, sliced jalapenos, and red bell peppers for a punch of heat and flavor. I also asked for mushrooms, and they're incredible. There's something special about the way battered fried fish and mushrooms complement one another in both texture and taste. If you haven't tried them together, you should. It's a game changer. I know so far in this review I've been raving about everything, but trust me, when something's bad, I don't sugarcoat it. If you have any doubts, check out our video of the worst foods in Vegas. You'll see I'm not afraid to tell it like it is. This dish traces its roots to classic Chinese cooking, where deep frying locks in moisture while creating a crisp, golden crust. Traditionally served in banquets and family gatherings, it represents indulgence and balance. The pork chops, bone-in for extra flavor, are beautifully battered and flash-fried in sizzling oil until perfectly crispy. What sets this version apart is the sauce, a glossy, sweet and sour glaze that clings to the crunchy coating without making it soggy. Sautéed onion slices add a savory contrast, enhancing the rich, almost delicate flavor of the pork. Despite its deep-fried nature, it's remarkably light, with a batter so crispy it nearly shatters with each bite. Just be careful, the flavors in the dish will grab your attention, but be sure to stay observant of the bones. We kicked off our second visit with edamame while waiting for our companion. This classic starter is nothing fancy, but it's fresh, not frozen, and always satisfying. Think of it as the Asian counterpart to bar peanuts. Salty, addictive, and impossible to stop eating. I nearly polished off the entire bowl before they had to take it away. As is usually the case at some point in the meal, I asked our server for a recommendation, and without hesitation, she pointed me to the Dan Noodles. Normally, I typically steer clear of this dish because of its heavy use of Chinese five-spice. I mentioned my hesitation, but she insisted these were special, made with a house-crafted peanut paste featuring some unexpected ingredients. I could only hope and pray that an overabundance of five-spice wasn't one of them. The chef here, hailing from Hong Kong, clearly knows his craft. After mixing the noodles, what followed was an explosion of flavor. The peanut paste is rich, deep, and unlike any I've had before. Garlic, fermented soy, a touch of sweetness, and a chorus of complex, almost mysterious notes that blend together perfectly. The noodles have the ideal chew, the kind that would make my Nona proud, al dente with a satisfying bite. The ground pork is beautifully seasoned, and to my relief, not a trace of five-spice. The spinach adds a fresh contrast, while the chili oil and peppers bring just the right amount of heat. The bowl is packed with bold, layered flavors that will keep you coming back for more. Take my advice, order it. This version might just be the best I've ever had. You're gonna thank me later. This dish is pure fire for those of us who crave serious spicy heat. Our server told us that a man recently ordered these, lifted the entire bowl, and drank the sauce. At first, I thought of Emily Post tossing in her grave, but after a few bites, I understood his breach of etiquette. Although Emily, a pretentious, tough old bird, wouldn't have been as accepting. The sauce is magic. Black Chinese vinegar, soy, a touch of sugar, and Noodle Asia's signature chili oil, which packs a punch. It's a kind of flavor that should be illegal. And speaking of illegal, did you know Szechwan peppercorns were actually banned in the United States for decades? From 1968 to 2005, their import was outlawed because of concerns they could carry a citrus-killing disease. First it was the honey walnut prawns, and now the Szechwan peppers. Thankfully the ban was lifted, and now we can enjoy that unmistakable numbing, tingling heat that makes Szechwan cuisine so addictive all the time. The wontons themselves, handmade from impossibly thin dough, almost translucent, wrapped around a filling that's rich, porky, and bursting with garlicky goodness. And then there are the fresh peppers. I love jalapenos in a dish, and here they add just the right amount of kick. This one is a winner. Now, knowing they make both the wonton skins and the filling from scratch, I suddenly need to try their wonton soup as well. The broth is light and full of depth, unlike the overly salty versions you find in many Chinese restaurants. Some noodle soups leave you chugging water all day, but not this one. The secret? Stuffing the pot with as many chickens as possible. It's a trick my mother and my adoptive mother Rose taught me, one that many chefs use to create a broth packed with deep, bold, and complex flavors. It's clearly what they've done here. The bok choy adds a fresh crunch, while diced scallions bring a gentle bite. But the real star? The wontons. Rolled out paper thin and nearly translucent, they hold the filling so well seasoned you can taste the white pepper and garlic in every bite. Wonton soup has a long and beloved history. The name wonton translates to swallowing clouds, a fitting description for these delicate dumplings floating in broth. I love my wonton soup with a splash of red Chinese vinegar. With its deep crimson hue and slightly smoky, malty flavor, it's been made for centuries using red yeast rice. It adds just the right balance of tanginess to cut through the richness of the broth and filling. As a kid, wonton soup was always one of my favorites, and this one reminds me why. It's comforting, flavorful, and a perfect balance of tradition and craftsmanship. I recently thought that the hot braised shrimp I tasted at Yuzhang was the best ever, but these top them in texture and flavor. Look at this gorgeous color and the size of the shrimp. They're neon orange. The batter on the shrimp is crunchy yet thin. The shrimp are huge in size, but more importantly, in flavor. I really think we're lucky to have such wonderful Chinese food in Vegas. At this moment, I feel blessed. The sauce is just a little spicy, not too crazy. I think almost anyone could tolerate the heat. The little charred chilies are here to break up or eat with a bite to make it more intense if you like. With each bite, I keep thinking, I want to add some chili oil. But this dish is so delicious as it is, I'd be afraid to ruin this beautiful creation. The sauce is not too sweet, just perfectly pleasing to my palate. I tried a chili, and they're not as crazy hot as I thought. I'll gladly treat the broccoli as a garnish, but I'm eating these peppers. Well, actually, I take it back. The broccoli is wonderful in the sauce. Of course, this sauce would make anything taste good. Every corner of the world has its own take on curry. I love Japanese, Indian, and the Thai versions. But Chinese curry holds a special place in my heart. It was the first I ever tasted. They say you never forget your first. The dish takes me back to childhood, to the one my mother used to make. She learned it from her Chinese friend and passed it down to me when I was young. Chinese curry is all about balance. A perfect blend of coriander, turmeric, yellow curry powder, and of course, coconut milk. When combined in just the right amounts, they create a rich, aromatic sauce that defines this dish. And they nailed it here. The beef shank, so tender it falls apart at the touch of a fork, melting in your mouth with every bite. Sweet pineapple, crisp red and green bell peppers, and soft potatoes round it out, making for a deeply satisfying meal. All you need is a side of white rice to soak up the sauce, and you've got pure Chinese comfort food at its finest. Few things are more satisfying than tender, velveted beef. It practically melts in your mouth. And when it comes to premium cuts, nothing beats tenderloin. This dish is a masterclass in umami, packed with deep, savory flavors that keep you coming back for more. The beef, marinated in soy sauce, a touch of sugar, and a generous amount of black pepper, develops a rich, bold taste that's both fragrant and irresistible. Look closely and you can see the flecks of pepper clinging to the perfectly seared meat. This dish stays true to tradition, pairing the succulent beef with crisp bamboo shoots, bell peppers, onions, and fresh scallions. The combination is perfectly balanced, tender and crunchy, savory and slightly sweet, all tied together with that signature smoky sizzle. It's hearty, flavorful, and undeniably delicious. Yet another don't-miss dish at Noodle Asia. Okay, finally a dish for my sweet tooth. If custard's on the menu, I'm ordering it, no questions asked. And these black lava buns? They're a sweet tradition with a modern twist. Absolute perfection. Their striking black color comes from black sesame, giving them an eye-catching look and a subtle, nutty depth. The dough is made fresh from scratch, soft and pillowy, encasing a warm, velvety egg custard that's pure indulgence. It's rich, thick, and loaded with deep vanilla flavor, like a creme anglaise turned up to 11. I could eat 1,000 of these and never get tired of them. Lava buns have roots in Chinese cuisine, particularly in dim sum culture, where they're known as liu shabao, meaning golden sand bun. I have to assume something is lost in translation, as I'm not overly enticed by the thought of eating sand, gold or not. Traditionally, the custard inside is made with salted egg yolk, giving it a rich, slightly savory depth that balances the sweetness. Over time, chefs have played with the recipe, introducing other variations to produce the black color, such as charcoal or squid ink. And before some of you get too excited and inundate us with comments, I know black is not a color. I'm taking artistic license on this one. But if you do still feel so inclined to write, rest assured we'll run it up the poll to our chief nitpicking officer, Charles Oliver Peanut, to make a final ruling. Anyway, if you're looking for the perfect way to end a meal, these are it. Get them. You won't regret it. Well, I've been thrilled to share this out in the open gem with you. Noodle Asia isn't just a place to eat. It's a warm, welcoming escape where you instantly feel at home. When I found out it's the sister restaurant to my favorite Chinese spot in Vegas, Taste of Asia, I was genuinely surprised. Who says lightning doesn't strike twice? Well, whoever said it hasn't been to these two restaurants. And being the curious type, I did some research, and since learned that both are the brainchild of Carrie Hun, a seasoned restaurateur who obviously knows her craft. The food here is created with care, packed with authentic flavors, and absolutely worth returning for. If you've never been to Noodle Asia, do yourself a favor and give it a try. You won't regret it. We'll be back very soon. Who knows? Maybe you'll see us there. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. This would be a good time to hit the notifications bell so you get a reminder when the next review becomes available. And of course, it's always a good time to like, subscribe, comment, or share. It's free to do so, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. And now, the special offer we mentioned in the intro. Through May 31st, 2025, tell them Let's Eat Vegas sent you and receive 10% off. That's a great deal. Don't miss out. Until we eat again, bon appetit.